Another couple joins in. And things get out of control. True infidelity story, safe version. It all began on a quiet Saturday morning in Houston, Texas. Sarah Turner sat on her back porch sipping her coffee, staring at the garden she had worked on all summer. Her husband, Michael, was inside making breakfast, as he often did on weekends. At first glance, they looked like the perfect couple, married for 12 years, parents to 2 wonderful kids, and owners of a cozy suburban home. But what the neighbors didn't know was that Sarah had been feeling unsettled for months. Michael was hardworking, kind, and always tried to provide. But somewhere between his late-night meetings, the kids' school projects, and the daily grind, Sarah felt they had drifted apart. Conversations that used to be full of laughter and curiosity were now brief exchanges about bills, chores, and schedules. She missed the spark, the feeling of being truly seen. That morning, Michael came outside with a tray of pancakes. "Breakfast is served," he said, placing the tray on the patio table. Sarah smiled. "Thanks, honey." They ate quietly until Michael broke the silence. "I was thinking, maybe we should go out tonight. Just us. Dinner and maybe some live music downtown." Sarah's heart skipped. It had been so long since he suggested something spontaneous. "That sounds wonderful," she replied. That evening, Sarah put on a blue dress Michael had once said was his favorite. He wore a crisp white shirt and jeans, a look that reminded her of their dating days. They drove downtown and ended up at a small restaurant with live jazz. The warm glow of string lights filled the space, and the band played soulful music that made Sarah feel alive again. As they settled in, the hostess led another couple to the table next to them. The woman, Emily, had fiery red hair and a confident smile, while her husband, Daniel, was tall with a calm demeanor. Emily immediately turned to Sarah and said, "I love your dress. That color looks amazing on you." Sarah blushed. "Thank you." Soon, introductions were made. Emily and Daniel had just moved to Houston from Denver and didn't know many people yet. Conversation flowed easily. The couples laughed, swapped stories, and even shared appetizers. By the end of the night, it felt like they had known each other for years. Michael suggested, "Why don't you two come over for dinner next weekend? We love hosting." Daniel agreed, "We'd love that. It would be great to get to know you better." The following Saturday, Sarah spent all afternoon preparing a beautiful dinner. She wanted everything to be perfect. When Emily and Daniel arrived, the house was filled with the smell of roasted chicken and garlic bread. The evening began well, with music playing softly and glasses of wine clinking. But as the night went on, Sarah noticed something. Emily was a little too comfortable with Michael. She laughed at every joke he told, leaned in a bit closer than necessary, and touched his arm when making a point. Sarah's stomach tightened, though she tried to hide it. Later, when she went to the kitchen to get dessert, Emily followed. "You're so lucky," Emily said casually, glancing toward Michael. "He's charming, funny, and clearly adores you." Sarah forced a smile. "Yes, I am lucky." But her mind was racing. Was Emily just being friendly, or was there more behind those words? Over the next few weeks, the four of them began spending more time together: barbecues, movie nights, even a road trip to Austin. From the outside, it looked like a beautiful friendship, but Sarah couldn't ignore the subtle tension. Sometimes Daniel seemed distant, while Emily appeared more interested in Michael than her own husband. Sarah didn't want to be the jealous wife, but the unease grew heavier each day. One night, during another get-together, things finally boiled over. They had all played a board game that ended in a heated debate. Voices rose, and Emily snapped at Daniel in front of everyone. "You never listen to me, Daniel. Maybe that's why I enjoy talking to Michael so much, at least he pays attention." The room fell silent. Michael looked shocked, while Sarah felt her chest tighten. Emily's words had crossed a line that couldn't be ignored. Daniel stood, his face red with embarrassment, and left the room without saying a word. Sarah excused herself and followed him outside. Daniel stood near the fence, hands on his head. "I'm sorry you had to see that," he muttered. "It's okay," Sarah said softly. "Are you all right?" He nodded slowly. "Emily, she likes attention. I've known it for years. But seeing her say that, in front of you, It's too much. Sarah didn't know how to respond. She felt sympathy for Daniel but also a gnawing fear about her own marriage. Inside, Emily was still talking rapidly to Michael, trying to explain herself. When Sarah returned, she gently placed her hand on Michael's arm. I think it's time we call it a night. The next day, Sarah and Michael sat in their kitchen, the air heavy with silence. Finally, Sarah spoke. Michael, do you realize how close Emily is to you? Do you see how it makes me feel? Michael sighed. I didn't. I mean, I thought she was just being friendly. But last night. I get it now. I'm sorry, Sarah. I never wanted you to feel like you had to compete for my attention. Tears welled in Sarah's eyes. I just want us back. I don't want distractions, or drama, or other people pulling us apart. Michael reached across the table and held her hand. You're right. We let another couple into our lives, and it spun out of control. But I promise you, Sarah, you're the only one I want. We'll set boundaries. We'll fix this. It wasn't easy. Over the next few months, Sarah and Michael slowly distanced themselves from Emily and Daniel. When Emily texted, Sarah politely declined invitations. Daniel occasionally reached out, apologizing again for his wife's behavior, but eventually, contact faded. Instead, Sarah and Michael focused on rebuilding their own relationship. They went on more dates, talked openly about their feelings, and even started couples counseling to strengthen their bond. 1 year later, Sarah looked back at everything that had happened and realized that sometimes, life brings people into your world not to stay, but to teach lessons. Emily and Daniel had reminded her how fragile trust could be, but also how powerful love and communication were in holding a marriage together. On their 13th anniversary, Michael surprised her with a small trip to the mountains. As they sat by a crackling fire, Sarah leaned on his shoulder and whispered, I'm glad we found our way back. Michael kissed her forehead and replied, no one will ever come between us again. And for the first time in a long time, Sarah believed him.